You know, the big thing he said, Tracy, is you have to have flexibility. He said, you know, there's a wall. You may need to go under the wall. Sometimes you need to go around the wall. But can you talk to us about how big of a difference is there between flexibility and uncertainty, especially in a market that does not like uncertainty? You've got a lot of countries still not even sure which tariffs apply to them. I was just texting before we came on the air with some Canadian officials who are telling me they don't know if this applies to, you know, industry-specific tariffs, the auto industry, other issues. Has this really changed things that much?
Well, this is exactly it. In financial markets, the first thing you learn is investors hate uncertainty. And we have had a lot of back and forth, a lot of uncertainty over the past week. It's kind of hard to think it's only been a week since Liberation Day. And in the meantime, we've had this really surprising move in both bonds and stocks. And you heard the president talk about how the bond market looks beautiful today. It did not look that beautiful yesterday. And in fact, we've seen yields touch 4.5%. That's very, very high. We're seeing them dip today to, I think it's 4.36. S&P 500 up something like 8 or 9% the last time I looked. That's how fast things are moving right now. You basically have to keep an eye on things at all times. But as you mentioned, there are these huge open questions. So, for instance, we don't know what's going to happen with the increased tariffs on China. Of course, these are the world's two biggest economies, right? And we still don't know what's going to happen with their trading relationship. But more broadly, he has permanently injected that uncertainty into markets. You can't really put the tariff threat toothpaste back in the tube. For the next 4 years, other countries, other investors are going to be wondering if Trump is just going to, you know, start threatening these again.
And Garrett, something else stood out to me, and I wanted to get your take. The president was asked if he'd been speaking to other business leaders and people like that, and he said, well, I saw Jamie Dimon on TV this morning, and, you know, he said he had a couple good points. Talk us through why that might matter.
Christina, I'm going to tell you why that might matter. It's long been known that one of the best ways to get your point of view in front of Donald Trump is to say something on a television show that he is paying attention to, and he will absorb it. Jamie Dimon, the CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase, probably the single most famous Wall Street figure in this country, was on Fox Business this morning. He was asked for his personal view about whether he thought a recession would be likely if the tariffs continued, and he said, and I quote, "I'm going to defer to my economist points, but I think that's probably a likely outcome." When I think about that in the context of some of the other things the president just said, that people were getting yippy or queasy about the bond markets or the stock markets, coupling that with Jamie Dimon's comments this morning, all of that going into the president's head, it just speaks to, I think, the thought process behind this decision to back away from a policy that was getting harder to defend in the business community and seemed to be more likely to tip the economy over into a recession, according to someone who the president, you know, clearly listened to in a format that gets through to him in ways that, frankly, others don't.
All right, joining us now, NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans. Christine, I just want to get your takeaway from all of that. And we also heard the president mention the bond market specifically several times. Can you explain to me in very small words why that's important?
Well, first about the sort of celebrity business leaders in the last couple of days who have started saying publicly what they had been saying privately. I think that got the president's attention. You also heard from Bill Ackman, who is a billionaire Trump backer, gets a lot of press in the business media. He had asked specifically for a 90-day pause of these big extreme tariffs. And look, he got it today, you know, so maybe that was the president listening. In terms of the bond market, okay, let's make this as little wonky as possible. The bond market really is the guts of the financial system, the glue to the financial system, and it was showing signs of distress. All of a sudden, you had bond yields rising and investors selling, dramatically selling bonds and 10-year notes in particular. And that was exactly opposite what the White House had been using as its gauge for its policies were working. So that was causing some alarm. Is there something amiss in the financial system? And that's what people were really looking at, even more than the stock market in the last couple of days.
I also want to ask you about China, because the president said this reprieve only goes for countries that didn't react and didn't institute reciprocal tariffs. You know, that the reciprocal tariff on China is now up over 100%. What does that mean realistically? You know, the president also said he wants to make a deal with everybody. He wants to make a deal with China, and he thinks they will make a deal. Do you think China's going to come to the table and make a deal, or do you think we're going to see more escalation?
The politics part is absolutely up for grabs. But I will tell you that the financial pressure the president is putting on China is unprecedented. 125% tariffs. The U.S. imports almost $450 billion worth of smartphones and televisions and laptops and electronics and clothes and shoes and you name it. We suck things out of the Chinese economy as a consumer. All of those things are going to cost a lot more.
Justin, I want to ask you as well, we've been talking a lot about how this will impact the U.S. end, but from the Chinese end, their economy, from what I've been reading, is really structured around selling cheap goods to Americans, furniture, clothing. What happens if that market is not there? What happens to the Chinese economy and then the U.S. in turn?
I think this actually gets to where the president has overplayed his hand quite dramatically. If you look at the amount of trade that goes on around the world, the U.S. isn't the whole story. In fact, we're about 1/10 of global trade. What that means is if we put up 100% barriers against China, and we put up large barriers, we still have large barriers against the rest of the world, we're cutting ourselves off from 90% of the world. China, on the other hand, it's losing access to 10% of all imports. That's not such a big hardship, and so it's going to have the opportunity to divert its exports elsewhere. There's going to be a lot of countries where people would otherwise have bought stuff from the United States, but they're going to have reciprocal tariffs, and so maybe they'll be looking to China and elsewhere. When you cut a country off from the rest of the world, the president is cutting off the United States from the rest of the world, just a little bit less so today. It's that population that suffers. So this is a trade war that's hurting Americans first, and it will have ripple effects elsewhere, obviously China second.
Tracy, I want to ask you as well. We were hearing from Treasury officials from the White House that they were motivated by their loyalty to Main Street. Don't worry about Wall Street. We are here for our Main Street voters. But 50% of Americans have money in the stock market. And look, you don't have to be a Wall Streeter to be impacted by this. It's retirements, it's pensions. The list goes on and on. So do you think that argument holds water? And ultimately, do you think that's why they reversed course on this? Because it was average Americans who were afraid they were going to feel this most.
Look, I don't think anyone was happy looking at their 401k or their portfolio over the past week or so. The move in bonds was probably the more important thing here. Bonds are supposed to be boring. They're not supposed to move around this much. They are the benchmark rate against which all other borrowing in the financial system is basically measured and judged. They feed into the real economy very forcefully. So when yields on benchmark bonds like the 10-year start to go up, you start to see mortgage rates go up. You start to see financing costs for big companies and small companies start to go up. And I think if you're looking at that scorecard over the past week, the bond move was a really, really big problem for Trump. And it was especially a big problem because they went out and said multiple times, we want to reduce rates so that refinancing the U.S. deficit doesn't cost as much. We want to reduce mortgage rates so people can afford houses. And we didn't see that.
All right, bonds are supposed to be boring. This is the thing I'm remembering from today. Tracy Alloway, Justin Wolfers, Christine Romans, Garrett Haake, and Eli Stokols. Thank you all so much.